I just said tag like 4 times in one run-on sentence. Stop and think. Stop and think. Hi guys, I'm Amy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be doing the Future Classics tag for you all. This tag was originally created by Eric at The Lonesome Reader, and I was tagged by Claire at Claire Reads Books. Both of their channels will be linked down below in the description box, but let's go ahead and get into it. Question number 1 is pick an established classic that you think will still be relevant in the future. And for me, that is Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. I just really enjoyed this book. I read it within the last 6 months or so, and I just think it is so relevant in a world in which a lot of people want to have things censored, specifically people in places of power, or to keep information from the public, or to keep education easily accessible. And I just found this book so poignant and relatable to our current situation, I guess you could say. And for those of you who may not know, this book is about a man who is a firefighter in future America, where his job is to burn books because you are not allowed to read. And that's basically the premise, and I cannot recommend this book enough. And if you want something that's really gonna make you think about what you read and how you receive the information that you read, I highly recommend. Question 2 is pick a recent book that you feel went under the radar but are confident will be a classic in the future. And this one was a little bit tricky for me, and I'm kind of cheating a little bit because I was not a part of the booktube world or more recent releases at the time that this book was published, but I feel like not enough people have talked about it still. And that is The Butcher's Hook by Janet Ellis. I have talked about this book on my channel again and again and again, but Janet Ellis's writing is just so vivid and visceral and real, and that just really sets the tone for this entire story, which is about a 19-year-old girl named Anne who's growing up in Georgian London and just like really unhappy with her lot in life. She's pretty much convinced that she'll always be miserable until she meets the local butcher's apprentice, Fub, and she begins this like obsessive relationship with him. And I don't know why more people don't talk about this book. I know technically it's been out for 2 years because it came out in the UK in 2016, but it only came out last year, at the end of last year, early last year? I'm not sure. Like I said, wasn't up to date at the time here in the US. And I just think this book is such an amazing book that talks about love and womanhood and what it means to be a woman and how your family influences you. There's so many things that you could pick apart in this book, and I want someone to read it and then we can chat about it. Please, whoever you are, find my channel and talk to me about this book. Question 3 is pick a title that won one of your favorite literary prizes recently that you think will still be lauded in 50 years' time. Now, I'll be honest, I'm just recently starting to follow book awards and book prizes, so I don't really have a favorite one, but a book that I have very recently read that did win an award was Eleanor Oliphant is Completely Fine by Gail Honeyman. This won the Costa Book Award for debut novel, and I just really enjoyed my experience reading this book. I really enjoyed Gail Honeyman's writing and her usage of really obscure, odd words, and the character of Eleanor and how even though she's way different than the average person, like she's by no means typical, you really connect with her in a lot of ways. And this book deals with so many intense topics like love and family and your past and what that means for your future and connecting just to humanity in general, that I just think this book will really stand the test of time. And I hope that it does because I think it's so good, and I cannot recommend this book enough. So if you haven't read it, you should. It's totally worth the hype that it seems to be getting here on BookTube, and then come back and chat with me about it. Okay? Question 4 is pick a recent book that you have not read yet but you think will become a classic based on recommendations alone. And for me, I'm going to go with Red Clocks by Lenny Zumas. I just am astounded by the praise that this book has received. I have had a early review copy on my Kindle for months now because I heard Acacia over at the Chaotic Little Book Corner talk about this book when she got an early review copy sent to her, and I just had to have it immediately, but I still haven't read it yet for no apparent reason. But this book is about a society in which any fetus or fertilized egg has the same rights as a person who is living on their own. So that means abortion's not allowed, in vitro fertilization is not allowed. Also, you are only able to adopt a child if you are a couple. So single people cannot adopt children. And it follows 4 women in 4 different circumstances and how this law has affected their lives. And this just seems so poignant and important in a discussion about women and women's rights, and the very, very charged topic, we're ignoring my phone, charged topic of what it means to be a person and when you have rights as a person. So I can't wait to read it myself, and I really do think that it's a book that's going to be around for a while. The last and final question, question 5, is pick a favorite book that you want to save for your grandchildren or friends' grandchildren to read in 50 years' time. Now, I'm gonna sound a bit like a broken record because I've mentioned this book so many times, and it's not gonna stop anytime soon probably, and I should be more sorry about it, but I'm not. But I really love this book, just like I really love The Butcher's Hook, which I've talked about a lot as well. But for me, I'm going to pick The Tsar of Love and Techno by Anthony Marra. This is technically a short story collection. I have done a review on this book. I will link that up here for you all because it's just so very good. But I just connected with this book in a way that I didn't know was possible. This book approaches so many different topics, and Anthony Marra handles them so very well. It's about connection, and it's about family and your past and your government and censorship and how all of that affects your lives and the decisions you make and where you live. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful book. Anthony Marra's writing is just out of this world beautiful, and I think it will be just as relevant and important in 50 years as it is right now, because it's about humanity and what it means to be human and the little ways in which humanity is connected as far as human to human. So if you haven't read this book, you absolutely should. You should also kick my butt to get me to read A Constellation of Phenomenon by Anthony Marra, his full-length novel that I still haven't read. But regardless, this book is going to be around for a while. Alrighty, guys. That's it for the questions, but I did want to tag a few people. I'm going to tag Matthew from Matthew Sharapa. Matthew, I'm sure you've been tagged already, but I'm going to tag you anyways because I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. And I want to tag Laura at Paperback Winter. I absolutely adore her channel, and she reads very broadly, and so I would love to see her answers for this. Jen at Jen the Librarian. Her tastes seem to be very similar to mine, so I'm very curious as to what her thoughts would be. And then April at Getting Hygge With It. Again, another person who I'm really convinced that April is like my book soul sister. Like we read the same things, and I would absolutely trust her to pick my books out for me. And I don't say that about very many people, but I tagged the 4 of you, and then I also want to tag the rest of you. If you haven't done this tag yet, do it, and then let me know if you've done it and I can check it out. That was kind of a weird sentence, but we're going with it. But if you guys like this video, please like it. Thank you so much for watching. And if you loved it, subscribe. I totally did that out of my normal order. But again, we're just gonna go with it. Happy reading, guys. This tag, then keep watching. What was that? Oh, yeah. But you think will become a classic based on recommendations alone. Weird pause in the word recommendations, which should have no pause. But I'm gonna sound like a broken record again because I've already talked about The Butcher. Oh my god, could I have tripped over my words more times in that one sentence, which wasn't even finished yet.